If you've ever trusted someone only to find out they were playing a game you never agreed to, this story will haunt you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get comfortable, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just a story about deceit or guilt. It's about what happens when the therapist becomes the patient. This is Behind the Perfect Smile. They called me the calm one. The woman with the gentle voice and steady hands. Dr. Evelyn Shaw, licensed therapist, trauma specialist, and the unofficial confessor of Willow Creek. A town so small, everyone pretends not to know everyone's secrets, but they do. My office sat at the edge of Main Street, beside the old post office with its peeling paint and gossiping clerks. Every morning at 8 o'clock I'd light a lavender candle, set out herbal tea, and greet the ghosts that walked through my door, dressed as patients. But on that Monday when he first came in, something shifted. He was in his early 30s, polite, clean-cut, a schoolteacher named Adam Pierce. He looked like the kind of man who still said, "Yes, ma'am," who wore grief like an accessory he couldn't take off. "I haven't been sleeping," he said, sitting on the couch like it might swallow him whole. "It's about her." I looked at his trembling hands. "Your girlfriend." He nodded. "Emily. She's missing." There it was, the word that made every therapist pause. Missing. I'd heard about it, of course. Everyone in Willow Creek had. Emily Rhodes, 26, disappeared after leaving the local bar 2 weeks ago. Police called it a possible voluntary disappearance. Called that wishful thinking. "I just need to talk to someone," he murmured, eyes flicking to the framed degrees behind me. "The cops think I did it." His voice cracked, and for a moment, just a moment, I almost believed him. But belief is dangerous. Because sometimes the people who need the most comfort are the ones who can't afford to be comforted. I leaned forward slightly. "Tell me what happened the night she disappeared." He hesitated. His gaze darted to my notebook. "You're writing this down." "Of course," I said softly. "That's how I help." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "We fought." She stormed off. I didn't follow. "That's it. But I keep seeing her face. In dreams. Like she's trying to tell me something." He said it like a confession, but it wasn't guilt I heard. It was fear. Fear of something real. When the session ended, he gave me a polite smile. The kind of smile people wear when they're trying to convince themselves they're still okay. Smiled back. And that was the first lie of the day. Because the moment he walked out, I locked my office door, pulled open my desk drawer, and stared at the newspaper clipping I'd hidden beneath my files. Local woman, Emily Rhodes, missing. And in the corner of the photograph, there I was. Half-turned, barely visible, but unmistakably me. I couldn't stop staring at that photo. It had been taken outside Murphy's bar, the last place Emily was seen alive. She was laughing in the picture, her arm around a friend. I was in the background, leaving with a drink in my hand. Of course, I told myself there was nothing wrong with that. Willow Creek was small. I ran into people all the time. But the timing, it was too close. Too perfect. The next day, Adam came back for his second session. His eyes were darker, his voice quieter. "I think she's haunting me," he said. "Not literally, I just feel her. Everywhere." "Guilt can take many forms," I told him, my pen poised but unmoving. "What are you guilty of?" His silence lingered too long. Then he said, "Not looking for her sooner." I nodded, but inside something twisted. He wasn't telling the whole truth. And neither was I. Because 2 nights before Emily went missing, she had come to me too. Not as a patient, as a woman begging for help. She said he was controlling, I murmured under my breath after he left. Said she wanted to leave him. I opened my notebook. Not his file but hers. There were notes. Frantic, scribbled, unfinished. But the last line made my pulse stutter. "She knows about the others." The others? What others? I thought back to the whispers, the unexplained disappearances around town over the years. Hitchhiker, a waitress, all brushed off as runaways. Whoa, something was wrong here. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I was helping a victim or sitting across from a predator. By the third week, Adam's visits became more frequent. He brought flowers once, baked bread another time. Too personal, too familiar. Classic transference, I told myself. Patients cling to the person who listens. But I couldn't shake the feeling he was testing me, watching my reactions, measuring my silences. I had another dream, he said one afternoon. She was standing by the lake, smiling. But it wasn't really her. It was like someone else was inside her face. Do you believe she's alive? He stared straight at me. Do you? The air between us tightened. I looked away first. Dreams aren't always truth, I said, trying to sound detached. That night I couldn't sleep. Because I did believe she was still out there, somewhere between life and whatever came after. And if she was, she wanted me to find her. But I wasn't innocent either. There was something about that night, something my memory refused to touch. A blurred flash of headlights, scream, a splash of cold water. I woke up sweating, my hands shaking. I told myself it was just empathy, a therapist absorbing too much. But deep down I knew better. Because I wasn't just part of Adam's story. He was part of mine. Adam sat across from me again that Thursday. Rain streaked down the office window like veins of silver. He looked worse, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, twitching at every sound. She's in my head, he said quietly. I see her when I drive. When I close my eyes. She whispers my name. Adam, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Guilt can make the dead louder. His lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. You'd know, wouldn't you? That stopped me cold. What do you mean? Yes. He leaned forward. You were there that night. My heart stuttered. He shouldn't have known that. He couldn't have known that. Excuse me, I said, carefully keeping my tone professional. I don't know what you're implying. He tilted his head, eyes tracing the faint scar on my wrist. You were at Murphy's. Emily mentioned you once. Said her therapist was smart, but she didn't trust you. Said you had this way of smiling that made her feel watched. My chest tightened. I smiled then, too quickly, too practiced. You're projecting. But he just stared back, his gaze steady. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just returning the favor. After he left, I sat in the silence, hearing only the rain and the soft ticking of my clock. Then I went to the mirror on my wall and looked at myself. That smile. The same one everyone in town trusted. It looked fine on the surface. Kind, patient, professional. But underneath, it was cracking. 'Cause he was right. I had been there that night. And I wasn't just passing by. The night Emily disappeared, I'd gone to Murphy's after a long day. I wasn't supposed to be there. I told myself I just wanted a drink, a moment to stop hearing everyone's pain. But then I saw her, Emily, arguing with Adam near the parking lot. He grabbed her wrist. She pulled back, furious. I'd seen that scene too many times. The controlling partner, the pleading woman. My own past bled through. I'd been her once years ago. So when he left, I followed Emily outside. She was crying. He's going to ruin my life, she said. He knows everything. The things I told you. I put my hand on her shoulder. You're safe. I promise. But she wasn't. Because as we walked toward her car, a figure stepped out from the trees. Someone I knew far too well. Detective Marcus Hale. My ex. My secret. The reason I left the city and started over here. Evening, doctor, he'd said, his tone sharp. Funny running into you. Emily froze. You know him. I remember his smirk. Oh, we go way back. Don't we, Evelyn? I wanted to pull her away, but before I could, Marcus whispered something that made my blood turn to ice. She knows too much. That's when I saw the gun. His gun gleaming under the parking light. I don't remember the sound. Just the flash. Emily's body hitting the ground. The splash of red on wet asphalt. And my scream, swallowed by thunder. Marcus made it look easy. Clean. Like it wasn't the first time. Help me move her, he'd said coldly. I'd stood there frozen. Until he said the words that chained me to him forever. You're in this now, Evelyn. Together. And we buried her near the lake. Beneath the reflection of the moon. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes I saw Emily's face. Pale, open-eyed, accusing. Adam kept coming back, asking questions I couldn't answer. Why won't you help me remember? He demanded one day. Because maybe remembering isn't what you need, I said, voice cracking. He slammed his hand on my desk. Then what do you need, Dr. Shaw? Forgiveness. Flinch. He was getting closer. Too close. And then that night I found a note on my windshield. Lake Birch. Midnight. Come alone. I knew who it was from. Marcus. He was waiting for me by the water, cigarette glowing in the dark. You've been asking around, he said. You're supposed to stay quiet. She was my patient, I snapped. You murdered her. He took a drag, exhaled smoke. You think they'd believe you. You were there, Evelyn. Your prints, your hair, your blood. I made sure. He wasn't lying. He never left loose ends. Except me. I should have buried you with her, he said softly. Smiled. You should have. Because while he was talking I was recording. The next morning I sent an anonymous file to the police department, the recording and my notes on Emily's last session. But I didn't include my name. Not yet. Meanwhile, Adam returned for what would be our final session. He looked calm now, eerily calm. You've been avoiding me, he said. I've been busy, I replied. He nodded slowly. Busy digging. I said nothing. He stood up, walked to my bookshelf, and picked up one of the framed degrees. Behind it, a folded piece of paper slid out. He handed it to me. It was a copy of the missing person report, with my signature at the bottom. How did you? I found it in the police files, he said. You were the last person to see her alive. He stepped closer. Tell me the truth, Dr. Shaw. What did you do to her? I met his gaze, steady, unwavering. I didn't kill her, Adam. But I know who did. His eyes flickered. Then why do you look so guilty? Because I watched it happen. He froze, searching my face. Then whispered. You're worse than him. Maybe I was. Because at least Marcus didn't pretend to care. 2 weeks later, the police found Marcus Hale's body by Lake Birch. Gunshot wound to the chest. Self-inflicted, they said. It wasn't. They also found a recording. His confession, along with a file naming every victim he'd buried. Emily's body among them. The case closed. The town grieved. And Dr. Evelyn Shaw returned to work, the calm therapist with the perfect smile. No one questioned why she was at the lake that night. No one asked about the gun she reported stolen months ago. Adam moved away. I never saw him again. Sometimes, though, I imagine Emily's reflection in the lake, smiling back at me. Not forgiveness, not quite, but understanding. Because justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it wears a smile. And mine was perfect. If you ever think evil is obvious, remember this. It hides behind polite eyes, soft voices, and practiced smiles. Evil can look calm, controlled, can even sound like help. Justice isn't always clean, and guilt doesn't always belong to one person. Sometimes the people who heal others carry the deepest wounds themselves. Dr. Evelyn Shaw wasn't innocent, but she wasn't powerless either. She found her justice the only way she could, by turning silence into a weapon. So if someone ever tries to make you forget the truth, remember this story. Because behind every perfect smile, there's something worth looking closer at.
If this story gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out?